July was very interesting. I ended up going to the cinema a bunch of times and just plainly watching a bunch of things that I haven't had a chance to talk about anywhere else on my channel yet. So today we're going to talk about everything I watched in July along with TV shows. But first, I do want to thank today's sponsor, which is Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN, which stands for Virtual Private Network. Not only can they encrypt your data and protect you while you're surfing the internet, but they can also unlock geo-blocked content, which is why I love them so much. I get such good use out of Surfshark because I'm able to unlock geo-blocked content. So if something isn't available in my country, I can just type in where I want to be, press a button, and I'm there within seconds. You can use this for a lot of different platforms. I rent majority of films from other platforms that aren't available in Australia. If you've ever thought about using a VPN, I can tell you Surfshark is one of the easiest to connect. And I have a deal for you today if you're thinking about trying it out. You can use my code SPOOKY or the link in the description below and you'll get 4 months extra of Surfshark. That's 4 months extra on me. And they also have a 30-day risk-free money-back guarantee. So if you aren't happy, 100% happy with the product, you can get your money back. Use the code SPOOKY or use the link down in the description below and get 4 months extra of Surfshark today on me. Thank you so much to Surfshark for supporting creators like me. Let's jump into what I watched this month, and we're going to start with TV today. I am still on the Survivor grind, so I will say I'm on the last season, current season that has been released of Australian Survivor. Over the last 3 months, I think it's 3 months, I have watched every single season of Australian Survivor. So I am tuned in and I'm ready to get this one done, so the spoilers are out of the way. For those who were asking, there has been a huge upset with Survivor Australia because our beautiful host, John, JLP, he has been sacked by the network. He lost his position as the host and he is the best host of Survivor. I'll stand by that. And I am very sad. I've heard some rumors about other networks maybe picking him up for other things, and I hope that's true, but people will ask me what I thought about that and I'm devastated. I love John. He is one of the best hosts on TV and have grown to really adore him. So I'm gonna miss him when I watch other versions of Survivor. I'm thinking about watching the New Zealand one. I've watched a lot of the American one. When I go back to the American one, I'll probably start at the start, so there's no chance of catching up to the current season. But I would love to know if anyone's watched the New Zealand version, what your thoughts are, because I might be hopping over there next while I wait for the new season. But absolutely adored it. Loved every season. Such good TV, such good reality TV. Another controversial watch, much more controversial. I watched Amy Bradley is Missing. I watched this with my friend Jackie and our jaws were on the floor, but not for the same reasons I think the rest of the world was. This is a Netflix, I think it's a 3-part series that is about a woman who goes missing on a cruise ship. I do think it's 1 episode too long. There is so much information that is stretched out to say absolutely nothing, and there's a lot of theories that are put out there, and this is where I feel like the overproduction of Netflix with miniseries and especially true crime, this is where it goes wrong. I've seen so many theories about things that have come out of this show. After watching this show, I had my own thoughts on what I think happened, and I thought it was pretty cut and dry, but going online, I found a lot of people felt the complete opposite way and do think that there is a hardcore conspiracy theory going on with this series. I don't want to say too much. I think you should watch for yourself, make up your own opinion, but I was really in the minority of what I believed happened with this case. But all in all, I really feel like it was a bit too long of a series. All of the facts at the start and then the facts at the end could have been smooshed together. I really felt like this could have been a movie documentary or at least just a 2-parter. That is my big takeaway, but it's also a big takeaway is I felt the complete opposite to a lot of people. I think what happened was sadly very straightforward. I feel like I'm being a little bit controversial today. Speaking of, the other series I watched was Too Much. People will know, if you've been around for a while, I'm a huge fan of Meg Stalter. I have a shirt in my house that was sent to me by her brother when he was sending out single pieces of merch, her own merch. He packed it in a bag and sent it to me. I know a lot of people like to talk about when they found someone first before they were famous, but this situation, I am so happy for her. She is so unique. Whether people love her and hate her, she's polarizing and she's doing something completely different than any other comedian has. And I really will stand by that. There is nothing that is similar to her style of delivery, which kind of affected this series. If you don't know who Meg Stalter is, she is a satire comedian who has a very interesting delivery. A lot of what she did in early days was her making up characters within her own apartment during the pandemic. So fast forward all of these years, she's been on shows like Hacks, and she was contacted by Lena Dunham to star in her new show, Too Much. Too Much is based on Lena Dunham's life. This series is personal to her because it is about her love life, but it's also a very long show. It's 10 episodes long, and it's really meant to be touching on the dramatics and complications within a relationship of two people who I believe are meant to be together, but the timing's off because their past relationships and trauma are getting in the way of them being authentic with each other. So I really like the idea as a whole. What I didn't feel like fit was some of Meg Stalter's comedic style with the character. And I think it was because it was such a personal character to the writer that it was hard to have someone who is so good at improv to come in and mold themselves to be someone else, if that makes sense. I still think that she was great in the show. I just felt like the show was a little bit heavy-handed with its journey, and it wasn't as precise as it should be or concentrated, so it felt like a lot of the episodes just kind of go nowhere. I also really hated one of the last episodes that I felt was just emotional bait. If you've seen the series, you know what I'm talking about, and that really left a bad taste in my mouth. I'm glad that they work together. It makes a lot of sense, but it just was a very odd show in the end. I don't think I had high standards. I just felt like it was a very weird atmosphere with two very strong things coming together and it not being a perfect fit. The story being so strong and so heavy-handed about this relationship and, you know, Lena Dunham's trauma with it, and then also Meg Stalter as a character. Sorry for rambling, guys. I just felt very passionate about that bit. To record everything I watch, I use the app Letterboxd. People always ask. It's always linked down below. I have a lot of films this month. I would love your feedback because I know the real ones out there who watch all of my videos usually watch these videos. I would love to know what you guys want me to do when I'm talking about movies that I have already talked about heavily in my disturbing breakdowns, if you guys still want me to touch on them, which I will do quickly this time, just so you know that I have already talked about this film in depth, and I'm gonna link all of the disturbing videos I've done during July. For those who didn't watch those videos, if you want a more deeper rundown, you can go check them out. I hope that's the best way to do it. Please let me know if you'd like it another way. Okay, so the first 5 films I watched was for a disturbing video. In the realm of censors, this is a really interesting movie. I don't think it was backlash I got, but I got a lot of people who really adored this film talk to me about what they got out of it, I think is a nice way to put it. This is a Japanese cult classic, I would say, that is based on a story of a geisha and her sexual affair with a man and how it ended in disaster. It is it's not even that long. I was going to say it's a long film. That's how I remember it. It's a very intense film. It is endless adult scenes. It is worth it for the payoff in the end. It's definitely a film that I suggest everyone watches once. Next, Spanking the Monkey. Do you know, this looks like one of the Sheens. Does it not? A little bit? That's what it reminds me of. It's just coming to me now. Okay, this is a strange 90s film. It says it's a gripping comedy about letting go. Girl. It is, who wrote that? He is about a young man who returns home to look after his mother, who has been in an incident, and his father has kind of taken off, and he has to abandon his internship and go and take care of his mother. During that, he is left to face some family problems that go awry. This is a film that is so strange because it's not bad, but the way it's presented is, I guess they say comedic, but I don't think it's meant to be funny, but it's so lighthearted for how deep the subject matter kind of is. But I saw a lot of you guys love that film, so I think that's really interesting. Then I watched Kissed, which is a film about a very bizarre woman. If you like May and you want something a little bit stronger, check this one out. It's about a woman with a desire for people who have passed away, or really the idea of death itself, and how she was attracted to that from a young age and the essence of it and how that transpires dangerously as an adult. Very interesting film that exists. I love films like, I know that's really weird to say, but is it for me? I love films like that just really catch me off guard with the subject matter. I haven't seen anything else quite like that one. The World of Kanako, I hope I'm saying that right. This is a thriller action, I would say, thriller action horror that takes inspiration from Alice in Wonderland, kind of, and it has a very jarring editing stylization. But it follows a girl who has gone missing and the deep rabbit hole that she has fallen into. And we kind of follow that as an estranged father who's also an ex-detective, if I'm remembering correctly. I watched a lot this month. And it is kind of investigation that meets in the middle and the truth is revealed. Pretty dark subject matter yet again. And the last one for this disturbing, and then we'll get onto some new stuff, is The Night Porter. This was a very interesting film. Very interesting. There you go. It's called The Most Controversial Picture of Our Time. A story about a concentration camp survivor who sees a former camp worker or, person in command later in life and has to revisit emotions and relationships that were formed and how that comes up. So that was a really interesting watch. All of the disturbing ones, if you haven't watched my videos, I go in completely blind to, and I love that. I love going in blind and having no idea what the subject matter was. That really was a shocking moment. Okay, then I watched Devil's Egg. This is the first time I've ever seen this movie. Beautiful. I was so excited to be able to have the opportunity to go see this at the cinema. I feel beyond lucky that I was able to see this on the big screen because this film is just all about atmosphere and, for me, metaphor. It's such a beautiful design and it is such a slow and hypnotizing film. Very, very slow. So it's only 71 minutes, but you follow a entity. I don't even know if she's meant to be human, and she has this egg and she is nursing this huge egg. And the story is about her trying to protect it when someone enters where she's hiding her dwelling. I cannot describe in words how beautiful this animation is. It is very slow, extremely slow, not much dialogue. And it's such a great film to just let the atmosphere take you away. You have to watch it in a dark room. I don't think it would work anywhere else. It's such a beautiful, slow, but hypnotizing journey. I adored it. It was exactly what I hoped it to be. So that's one of my favorite little animations now, I think. Okay, after that, I watched Paternoster. I feel like I always say this one wrong too. I know I don't speak very well, guys. I'm doing my best. This one I gave an honorable mention in my top 10. Such a fun movie. I didn't expect to like this one, but it really won me over. It doesn't try too hard. It's a very indie film. And actually, I had the creators for it comment on my video, which was so cool. It's a very indie film and it knows what it is. And it uses that to its advantage because it's a strange mix of kind of like found footage, but also it's stylized in a 70s way, even though it takes place in the current day. So we follow Max, I believe her name was. She works at a record store and she finds this record that is really rare and it's connected to this commune. They call it. What do you guys think it is? Look at the picture. This commune. She somehow gets invited to come and meet the people who created this music that she's been searching for. She works at a vinyl store and then she kind of has this side character who is in this kind of like punk metal band. You guys are going to tell me exactly what niche of metal that is. And everyone in her life somehow is already kind of in the aesthetic 70s. Their clothing, the way they talk, their attitudes, they're very hippie but like rock and roll. So it all fits together in this really fun kind of throwback that is showing so much appreciation to the 70s and those kinds of exploitation horror movies. I adored this film and I did not expect to, so it was a really fun surprise. Highly recommend. You guys can watch it on Prime, I believe, in some countries. This is the one I was dreading talking about. So I watched St. Clair, and I do want to apologize. I was going to do a review for this one. I didn't feel like I had enough to put into a review, but I really do want to talk about it because I think a lot of you will get a kick out of this movie, which has Bella Thorne, who I love, and it is by the director who did Braid. It's a very beautiful experimental horror. This movie is about a girl who believes she is hearing voices telling her who evil people are so she can be like a vigilante. It has a whole religious kind of air and layer to it, and then it also has her in school, so like her high school experience, and it's very much about her being a teen also on top of it. And then it's a very much an investigation, I would say like thriller horror. The movie has a lot of layers and a lot of things going on. They have a lot to say within this runtime. I thought that was brilliant itself, but I felt like it was more suited to a TV show because there was so much going on. It was really hard to get an arc on every single aspect, really have it all wrapped around in a, I wouldn't say perfect bow, but feel like poetic in any way, because they throw so many ideas out that are very unique, but it doesn't seem to land anywhere or to stick. I still think it's very much worth a watch, and I think a lot of you guys will get a kick out of it. And there's a lot of religious imagery, obviously, with the saint. Okay, past that, I watched Eddington, which I did a review on. I love seeing people's reactions to this one. I knew it was going to be polarizing. I love everything that's come out of it. All of the conversations, whether they're very negative or positive, it's stirred people up in a certain way, which I expected it to do. It was a really hard film to talk about spoiler free. If you don't know and you wondered what Eddington's about, in plain speak, it's just about 2020 and everything that kind of happened in that year, I guess centralized to America, but in a small town, and one sheriff kind of going through every single topic and how it weaves into his one story. It's a very confronting film and just super interesting. I think it's just a very interesting movie and probably one of my favorites of the year, I have to say. It just made me feel so strange. Okay, I watched Else. This is a body horror I also haven't spoken about here on my main channel. I believe this is a Belgium and France co-production, and I was worried because I saw this before together and some of the elements seemed quite similar, but it is completely different. It's an experimental horror about a introverted man who meets an extroverted lady, and they get stuck together during their own kind of pandemic where a virus breaks out. And there are very specific rules on how not to contract this virus. And it turns into a complete body horror, a journey that turns very experimental, beautiful imagery. I do think it went on a little bit too long, but it was very beautiful. If you're into experimental body horror, check it out. It is a little bit slow, but well worth a watch. After that, I watched September Says. So this is directed by Ariane Lebet. I'm definitely, again, pronouncing that wrong. She is a Greek-born French actress, and she's been in a lot of movies. I think she played a big role in one of the Assassin's Creeds, but she was also in The Brutalist. This is her first feature film directing, and it's about two sisters who share a strange relationship, their own kind of language, their own little world, and how that's challenged by bullies and what the reaction to that is of them having to move and try and, I don't want to say introduce themselves back into a social setting, but how it affects them mentally and their mother, who is a single mother with them. It's a very strange movie that I feel like has been done before in a lot of horror movies or thrillers, but I think that this one has a very special and strange air to it. It feels very uncomfortable, and the characters, it's really hard to get a gauge on what they're actually thinking and doing, which makes it quite erratic and interesting to watch. But all in all, I don't know if it said anything that I haven't seen, but it was a fun, kind of shocking, almost disturbing thriller, so I enjoyed that. After that, I watched 28 Years Later. I saw it for a second time in the cinema. Of course, I have a review for that. I liked it, I think even more the second time, to be honest. Then I watched The Perfect Getaway on my Discord, which is part of my Patreon. We have been doing a challenge where people can opt in and swap with each other to pick a film that they believe the other person would like but haven't seen. And my friend Heather picked The Perfect Getaway. This poster is awful. I think I got the wrong film. This is definitely the wrong film. Let me fix this. There it is. I think I gave it 3. Anyway, The Perfect Getaway, 2009. This is a really fun, twisted thriller. I really love the twist in this film. I do think that the acting, and once you kind of understand where it's going, it is very heavy-handed and forceful with its breadcrumbs, but it's still a thrilling ride that if you like twists in a film, you should definitely check out. It will keep you guessing. It's a movie about a couple who are on their honeymoon, and they find out that there is another couple on this island they're in that are going around and murdering people. They also meet up with 2 other couples, and then they all kind of are sussing each other out. So it's one of those like whodunit kind of films that has some really fun dialogue and interesting characters. I didn't mean to, but I completely jumped over chain reactions, and we need to talk about this documentary. This is basically showing several different people in the film industry their take on Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I saw this movie as part of a local festival, and I'm a huge fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I've read like the main book about Texas Chainsaw and how it was made. So I was very curious to see what they would put in this documentary, and it is such a strange ride. Basically, it has different filmmakers and how the film impacted them. There was some really interesting takes, especially from Miike Takashi, who told the story of how he accidentally saw the film and how it changed basically the course of his films. But then there's some very interesting takes. It opens with Patton Oswalt and his take on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I do not agree with, or I just didn't see the film the same way. I shouldn't say I didn't agree with it. We have very different versions of what that film was about and what happened in that movie, and I thought it was very bizarre what I knew about the film and how it was made and what people got out of it, but I love that. Everyone's allowed to have their different interpretations. I don't want to be against David Lynch and say that there's only one true way to see a film, but it was very strange seeing how different people have interpreted not just the movie but like what it means. So I found that to be an interesting ride, but I don't think it's a very well put together documentary, not because the production wasn't nice, just because there was nothing that really happens. There was nothing that new. It felt like just small clips that could have been more concise and put online. Although it's always interesting to get someone's take, I feel like watching a documentary more so, I know there's obviously experimental documentaries, but they more so are meant to be the story of the movie and give you factual information around it. So although some of it was really interesting learning about the different directors and filmmakers, and there's even a critic in there, and how it affected different people and I guess their worldview on it, if they were from a different country, how it came into their country, I don't feel like I left with a lot of information. After that, I watched Mads. This was a rewatch. Freaking love this movie, and it's held up so well. This is one of my favorite films of 2014. A beautiful French film that I guess is, no, I wouldn't say genre bending, but maybe like sub-genre bending in terms of horror. It is one take. I guess it starts with, I don't know if he's a teenager or like early 20s, a young man who is driving and someone gets into his car who obviously is in desperate need of help, someone who's covered in bandages, and how this transpires changing his day, night, and life and the world. It's a fantastic film that is full of paranoia. It's overstimulating. It's larger than life, and the way that they're able to logistically make this movie work, even if there are cuts in it, it's so brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Multiple locations, so many different people, backgrounds, the way that they're able to construct it without a flaw. Beautiful. Absolutely must watch. After that, I watched Friendship. This is one I wanted to see for so long, and it didn't come out here until now. It's out in the cinemas right now. So I went and saw this one. A lot of people told me I should review it because it's really dark. I didn't think it was that dark. I think it's odd, but it's meant to be. This is Tim Robertson and Paul Rudd, and definitely within Tim Robertson's, I guess this is interesting with the Meg Stalter stuff because Tim Robertson also has a very unique delivery and has made his own kind of comedic tone around it. But the director wrote this with him in mind. It's a movie about kind of a loner, introverted guy who just wants to hang out with his family, and then he's pushed by his wife to make new friends and make friends with his neighbor, and it becomes a little bit obsessive. It's very purposefully odd, random. It has a very intentional way of being awkward and uncomfortable, and I loved that for it. The story I felt like was a little bit kind of simple for how crazy it could have been, but it was the small moments, the comedic timing, the silence, and the one-liners that really got me and kept me hooked. I haven't watched any of his other stuff, by the way, so I don't know if I'm keen to check it out, actually. I'll see. Okay, after that, I did another disturbing watch. This time I only watched 3 films: Descent, 99 Women, and Caged. Descent is a just really traumatic film about a woman who has an unconsensual encounter, and how it changes her life. Again, if you want to check out my full breakdown, I also have talked about everything that happens in the film in that video. I watched 99 Women, which is a exploitation, again, cult classic, but the director is well known for this kind of style about women in a prison it's basically on an island and how they're trying to escape. After that, I watched Caged, which is meant to be based on true story. It's very interesting, the background there, but it's a French film about a humanitarian aid group and how they're held captive and caged by by people wanting to do a certain task with them. Okay, after that, I watched I Know What You Did Last Summer. I wanted to do a rewatch. I love this movie. Love Jennifer Love Hewitt. Absolutely adore this film. This is one of my favorites of the 90s. I've always said that. And then I watched the new one, which I'm sure you guys know how I feel about this. I was very mid. I loved this film and hated it at the same time, but it was super interesting. I do not regret seeing this film. It was very interesting and I wouldn't say kept me guessing. So for me, it's quite memorable. A lot of people said that they didn't like it and it's very unmemorable for them, but I haven't stopped thinking about it, to be honest. And then I rewatched Frailty. I did this for Does This Offend You? Beautiful classic film, directed by Bill Paxton, who stars in it. The film is about two brothers who are brought up with their dad, who is going through something after he gets a vision from God telling him which people around them are not real because they're demons and we need to take them out. Really scary stuff, thrilling and twisty. If you're into like a crime thriller and you haven't checked out Frailty, you definitely need to check it out. It is a classic for a reason. I rewatched 13 Ghosts. This film is always one that you remember so much more fondly than actually watching it. The nostalgia and I guess the character designs are so interesting and I have so many questions, but the story is so simple and gets straight to the point. It's very in-out kind of horror movie that doesn't give you enough juice. It doesn't give you enough details about these ghosts and everything that happened. So the movie is about this family that inherit this strange house, this strange estate. Inside are ghosts trapped, and they don't know what danger they're walking into and how they are trapped inside. They have been talking still about turning this into a TV series, and I really hope they do it. I would love a TV series which focuses on all of the ghosts and all of their different backstories, how they left this world, what happened to them. I just want to know more. I've always wanted to know more about this. I still really love the film though. Then I watched Heretic. This was for Does This Offend You? It was on Vicky's channel. If you don't know, Does This Offend You is a stream I do with my friend Nightmare Maven, Vicky, every single month. And we talk about 2 horror films or really dark thrillers that share a common theme. And we discuss all of the spoilers and all of the taboo parts. And Heretic and Frailty went back to back with that. So fun revisiting Heretic. I really enjoyed this, seeing this in cinemas. I think I saw it twice in the cinema, and it is such a interesting ride, especially coming back and revisiting it, knowing what was going to happen, but from like a clear mind after so many months not seeing it. It's about 2 Mormon missionaries who have someone on their list that they need to come visit and, you know, witness to, talk about their faith to, and they enter his house. And it becomes apparent very quickly that Hugh Grant, who plays Mr. Reed, is a very strange man who has a very precise need for their visit. After that, I watched Together, which I just reviewed if you want to go check that out. I watched The Abominable Vibes, and this is a Vincent Price classic. Such a beautiful film to revisit, such an interesting tone with the level of British comedy, but a very straightforward story about a man seeking revenge on those who have wronged him. For me, this film is all about the setting and atmosphere. It is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, practical set, so elaborate, the costume design and the creative kills, so silly and over the top, but in such a fun, beautiful way, theatrical way, which, you know, I love when Vincent Price is in these films and so theatrical. Not much dialogue, not a lot to follow, really annoying cops, but kind of funny. It's not like a whodunit, like you have to figure out anything. It's very straightforward, but a beautiful ride, really fun rewatching that one. I haven't seen in years. And then from there, the next 5 are films that I watched in my most disturbing video. So we've got Querelle, Feed, True Siblings, Savage Grace, and My Mother. Querelle from 1982 is a fast binder classic about a sailor that ports a town where he plays a game of dice that opens up his mind to a new possibility. Well, it's like a sexual awakening film. Very interesting. I think biblical and very storybook, has a great narration through it. Very fantastical and strange. Theatrical again. Another film I watched was Feed. This is an Australian thriller about, I'm not gonna click on, I'm scared of what I'm gonna find. Okay, I'm all good. About cybercrime, where someone finds a feeder website and their journey to find the source. Very different to what I expected, and an interesting watch. I should really check out to see what the director has done other than this. Again, if you want more details, definitely go check out that video. I've linked it down below. True Siblings is a short, strange Swedish film that aired on TV about a brother and sister and their sick relationship. And then we've got Savage Grace, which is based on a true story about a mother and her relationship with her son. And then My Mother, which is about a mother who exposes her son to a world of depravity that she believes he should inherit. If you want more detail on these ones, please click the link because I go into great detail. And don't worry, any spoilers, they're all time coded, so enjoy those videos. But that's everything I watched this month. I did watch a bunch of stuff that I didn't talk about, but in between that, I was really chowing down on those hard to watch films for you guys, and you can give a peek of next month and I can tell you. I'm gonna try and weave in a little bit more original content for you, as I always try to do. Thank you so much for being here. My voice is going. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And huge shout out to my patrons who keep my channel afloat when I do talk about disturbing content, and I'm unsure if I'm gonna get in big trouble for it. If you've watched this far, we are gonna do a little secret joke today because I haven't seen Superman yet and I'm thinking I might. I think you guys should get really mad at me in the comments and will confuse people who read them first or don't watch the whole video and get really mad at me about why I won't talk about Superman. Say, why do you refuse to rate Superman, to log Superman, release the Superman review? I know you guys will come up with something great that I can't think of. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate you and I'll talk to you all soon. Stay safe, stay spooky. Weapons review coming very soon. Bye, friends.